Mike Daley is in here this morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
First of all, comments on you lost on Tuesday. You're still on the ballot because you've also been endorsed by the Democrats
and the Independents
and the Independents Party as well. So seemed to be fairly close between you and Jeff Carpenter. Your thoughts on the race?
Oh, my thoughts are that I'm very confident. I think that it was a narrow loss. We still have pending the absentee ballots, and that's with the Republican Party pulling out all the stops to get support out for Mr. Carpenter, and we still only were narrowly defeated.
Okay. I want to talk for just a moment about the issue of the signs, and it's I didn't see it in the physical paper today, but I saw the story online this morning. And it is the story about the village of Herkimer enforcing or not enforcing the election sign ordinance. And I know they spoke with you. The OD did speak with you. And you had said that your understanding is that the village is allowing you. Your signs are the big ones. We're talking about sign prowess here. Who has the bigger signs? And clearly it seems like you do. And the DA is saying your signs are too big for Herkimer. So what's the story? And why are your signs still there?
Well, there was a time in the past where the village passed an ordinance limiting the size of signs. 5 years ago, Mary Akavazzi sued in federal court when she was running for family court judge over the issue of the size of the signs. The village lost that lawsuit and had to pay a rather large settlement for having been brought into court.
So the violation of her
constitutional rights.
Okay.
In
Is that under freedom of expression, or
I believe it's freedom of speech and political speech in particular.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry. What was the suit about, though? That you're saying she won her suit.
She won her suit,
and was it over signs or
just over the size of the signs?
The size of the signs. So that law still stands, though, even though there was already a suit about it.
The village never bothered to repeal the law.
Okay,
so it still exists.
Here is Jeff Carpenter in the OD saying, regardless of whether the village chooses to ignore the law, as one of the top law enforcement officials in the county, it is his job to obey what is written. And he says, and I quote from the OD, "A candidate for district attorney is intentionally violating the law. I won't do that. I won't break the law. That's not what the district attorney does. He wants me to do so he can say he's doing it too. He wants the cover." You want to respond to this? Which I'm finding this to be kind of a ridiculous side story, but
it's a ridiculous side story that has been out there for literally months. The OD decides to run it right at the time of the primary. Well, one of the reasons why I don't read the OD at all is because they routinely take sides in political issues, and I believe they are on his side. That's my opinion of the OD. But the issue on the signs, clearly, I'm not breaking the law. They've already lost a lawsuit. And for Carpenter to say that he doesn't break the law, I can point to specific cases where he has violated the plea bargain rules that were put into place to control district attorneys who were accepting plea bargains that were too lenient, where he has violated that law to avoid a trial.
Now, he has twice been on the air here, and his commercials have run here, stating that you're giving the wrong facts. They're not the real facts. Herkimer County is safer, and that you're using distorted numbers.
All I can say is I'm not using distorted numbers. One of the issues that he claims that he has, and I believe he said 8 trials, I'm referring specifically to trials in county court, which are felonies. I don't know if he's including trials in the village of Middleville or a traffic ticket in the town of Schuyler. I'm telling you, and I'm telling the voters, that since John Crandall has been the judge on Herkimer County Court bench, there has been 1 felony trial with John Crandall as judge and any one of the 5 lawyers out of the district attorney's office. 1.
I asked you this before. Can you clarify again that you note who the judge is? Is there more than one judge? Does this judge see all the cases?
There are, on occasion, visiting judges or acting judges.
So have there been, it's in the last 5 years, there's been one, you're saying one trial?
One trial.
With this judge?
And the reason
have there been other trials with other judges?
there were only 2 other trials in 2012, and that was when Mary Iacovazzi again was running against Jeff Carpenter, and they were early in 2012 and left over from a period of time when John Crandall had been the district attorney and had been scheduled for trial prior to Mr. Carpenter being taken over as district attorney.
This is why I do believe it would be great to have.
I know. I agree.
I'll let you say it.
Well, I just would
I'll
like
take the
to.
heat for it.
I would like to get Mr. Carpenter and you in here at the same time because you have made some allegations.
Yes.
And I'll mention another one as well. But so, and then like a day later or 2 days later, we respond from him and he defends. And then it's almost like, and then we have to come back to you for clarification. It would be easier, I think, not only for us and the candidates, but for voters in Herkimer County to have this ironed out at one time so there's not this back and forth. Now, let me ask you this as well. When Mr. Carpenter was on last time, he said the stats he gets are from
The Department
they're
of
state,
Justice.
right? They're state. They're not statistics he's come up with. They're state. And he said, if you're saying that they're being manipulated, they come from police departments and law enforcement officials.
You're saying the police
you're
departments
saying
they're
the
fudging
ones
the numbers.
who are fudging, right?
All right, I'm going to give you.
So you said you're criticizing police officers.
And he's
police
just wrong.
departments.
The police are doing their job. And I'll give you one example. And if I had thought, I would have brought the paperwork in to show you. 2015, there were reported through DCJS 98 violent felonies in Herkimer County. On one felony complaint, because it revealed a course of conduct, and this is the child molester out of Dolgeville,
Okay.
where it alleges in that one felony complaint over 100 violent felonies that were committed just on this one victim of many.
So you're saying that what they're doing is they're counting that as one, even though there were 100 violations.
Hundreds.
Or 100, and you're saying that's counting as one,
That
and you
goes
feel
into-
that's what's distorting the numbers.
Yes, that goes
Okay.
into the state, and that, in my opinion, is why Mr. Carpenter did not want to indict the defendant on all of the
You feel that
abuses.
he's trying to hide numbers.
He's hiding numbers, pure and simple.
What were some of the other challenges that were made by Jeff Carpenter when we had him on the air? He had questioned your numbers, also questioned the debate. You had set up a debate. He said that he was not invited to that debate until the very last minute when, and apparently it's other people witnessed this as well, when you came in at the last minute to invite him. And then, almost as if you did that in order to embarrass him and put him in a position where he couldn't say yes.
That actually is just not true. He knew about the debate. What he said was he had not received a written invitation. I put together a letter and hand-delivered it to his office, so we had a written invitation.
And he said there was only a few hours before the press conference that you held.
After. A few hours after the press conference he held.
Okay, all right.
It was after.
Got it. It was afterwards. But you're saying you informed him verbally or...
He was well aware. And I've been on your show saying anytime, any place. We scheduled this. It was on the scroll outside the VFW. It was, everybody in the community was aware of it. For him to say he wasn't is just false.
I want to get to specifics here because I didn't do a disclaimer here, but I in the primary produced television and radio commercials for Mike Daley. In full disclosure, but I want to pin this down even more. When did you book the VFW? And I think that this is one of his complaints in saying he might have known that you wanted a debate in general, but specifically the VFW debate. That was last minute, and he did not know about that one. Would you say that's fair? A fair statement by him?
No, I don't think that's a fair statement.
Okay.
He knew about the debate. He wanted a written invitation. He got a written invitation.
Did he tell you he wanted it? Did someone say if you want a debate, you have to make a written invitation?
That's what I was informed by somebody in the media that he claimed he had not received any
From
written
WKTV.
I don't recall who it was. Somebody
Okay.
in the media.
Okay.
So now let me ask you this, and you acknowledge that it was on that, was it the Tuesday after Labor Day, I think it was when you delivered it to him? It was that Monday or Tuesday of that week?
It was the day of the.
It was the day of the,
Yes,
okay, so
the event.
you acknowledge that?
I do.
That he didn't get a written notification until the day of. Who was organizing or overseeing or mediating this discussion or this forum, debate, whatever we want to call it?
The moderator was scheduled to be a member of the KTV news department.
Okay.
My understanding of how the issues were to be presented were we would submit certain areas that we would like to cover, and that the specific questions would be asked by the moderator. We would not have knowledge of the specific questions.
What I'm getting at is who set the parameters for what you're describing? Because, like, just as an example, when League of Women Voters, we've been invited to participate, and they do a fantastic job. But, like, they take on the responsibility. They contact the candidates. They line up panelists.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
I'm wondering. It
were
seems
you-
like there should be another party who's notifying, not you dropping off a letter.
I agree.
Were you organizing the debate? It was you organizing it?
I organized it I obtained the venue,
VFW. And Herkimer.
I spoke with the news director at KTV,
Steve McMurray.
And he agreed to moderate it, scheduled it for a specific date and time, and Mr. Carpenter declined then.
And I do have to say the WKTV story came out the next day, which said that there would be no debate, and this was, I think, on Wednesday, there will be no debate because the DA was not informed. And you're saying that WKTV, that is not correct.
I'm not saying KTV is not correct. I know.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I don't know what specifically KTV did in presenting this, if they did at all, to the district attorney's office, but I am absolutely positive that Mr. Carpenter was aware of it.
And I don't mean to be in an adversarial way here, but I think it's important to get to the bottom. And it's the only way we have this is we have Jeff Carpenter on a couple of days later, and then we have you on. You make accusations. Mr. Carpenter comes back and makes his own accusations or defends himself, and it would be a positive.
Right.
Despite my involvement in this, it would be an extreme positive for the community to be able to have the two of you in one studio here answering these questions and going back and forth and responding. I think that would be a very big positive. And if it meant that I couldn't ask any questions because of my involvement, I'd be totally okay with that. We've talked about that when we had a race with the Assemblywoman Tenney. We had a debate in here over the congressional primary.
So, and again, in
I
complete
agree 100%.
It sounds like you spearheaded putting this together, and maybe that's where the lapse was in notification. So,
and I'll take that responsibility if that is what occurred. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, if both parties are willing to do one here, Andrew or I will take care of getting confirmation from both candidates, although it appears to be a firm yes from you, and a time and a date and a location,
Andrew.
Which would probably be here.
So, I get the confirmation from you on the air right now that you're willing to do a debate, and then we'll talk with I'll give the district attorney a call today and see if he'd be willing to do so, and that way both parties are informed, and then we'll go forward with setting it up.
And if I can clarify too, debate usually involves panelists asking questions. What I would like is almost like a forum.
An hour forum.
Right,
Yeah.
because
or however long it needs to be.
I don't have a crime stat question necessarily at this moment anyway that I want to ask, but I would like clarification on some of the things that you've said. And so I guess.
Okay. And at the same time where we have where Mr. Carpenter has the opportunity to defend himself.
Correct.
In the same venue, in the same conversation, I think it's important for the public. Now, wait
a minute. I have to answer Andrew. Yes, I am willing to debate. I will appear at any time that is the convenience of this station. I will appear at whatever time Mr. Carpenter can make himself available. I know he has a busy trial schedule.
Somebody said here, and I think this is good, is Andrew, put it all in writing, and then it's official. We can say on this date,
8:37 a.m. daily confirmation.
The whole 9 yards. Okay, because you've thrown out some stuff, and I find it funny. You're with and actually Senator Griffo brought up the other day, what's with the cowboy hat? And, you talk about the old good old boy network that's going on in the Herkimer County, and yet you have this kind of, explain.
Well, the Good Old Boy Network is what is referred to out in the community, and I've had a lot of contact with voters coming up to the primary, and it is what the voters' view is. In Herkimer, it seems that it's more important what your name is or who you know than necessarily what your qualifications are or what you might have done. And that's what I refer to as the good old boy network.
Isn't that the common thing that we all know about politics? So if you're in a Republican area, you better be registered Republican or you're not going to get a county job, or you're not. I mean, isn't that kind of the unwritten thing that exists?
My reference is this is the sort of thing that allows a police officer to forge signatures of other police officers on official documents and yet not have the matter presented to a grand jury. There's clearly a relationship between this police officer and the district attorney's office. If he can't do it himself because he's uncomfortable, then
this is something that happened. I recall the story that happened within the Herkimer Police Department.
That's correct.
And you're saying that because of the relationship between the police officer and the DA's office, that the DA didn't take this to the grand jury? That's the reason? This would be a very good opportunity to have Jeff Carpenter here to say, wrong, this is what really happened.
Yes, that's the perception, certainly, in the community. There's no question.
All right. And so you agree to a debate. We've known that.
Absolutely.
And it's now official. Andrew's going to facilitate this. And we'll, come to this would be a point where the two of you could negotiate the proper terms of being able to have a functioning debate or forum here in studio for the public.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay. Mike Daley, running for district attorney in Herkimer County. Your big signs are not coming down. You're going to leave them. You say you are not violating the law. Did the mayor speak with you about the fact, or was it the village council?
I spoke with the codes director, the attorney, and the mayor. They informed me because of the previous lawsuit that they were not going to enforce it because they did not want to invite another lawsuit.
Okay.
Okay, and that was going to be my next question: is would you consider if that action was taken against you, would you consider also filing a lawsuit?
I offered to take the signs down when I had the conversation with the village, and they held a board meeting and came back to me and said that they had determined that they were not going to enforce it because they had already lost a lawsuit.
Okay. I equated this to a match of urination earlier this morning. It's kind of like my signs are bigger than your signs. Well, my signs are much bigger than your signs. It is what it is.
A match of urination?
Well,
you mean a pissing contest?
Okay. Well, all right. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Andrew, quickly, and I got a break.
Yeah, quick comment from Ben in Utica.
Okay. Oh, he's on the line. I can take him on one. Ben, you're on the radio.
Yes, I happen to be, I'm from Utica, so I don't have a dog in the race, but I was at the VW meeting, and there were at least 80 people there. The mayor of Frankfort, the mayor of Little Falls, and some other public officials. And Mr. Daley went out and made his presentation in about 30 minutes, putting out the specific accusations, called them that, of what he was running for and why the intent seemed to be that there is a glossing over of the investigations and the costs involved, and he was in a minute detail. And there were taxpayers there from Herkimer and from all the other villages. There were about 80 people present, and he went and answered every single question. Didn't deny the information to anybody there, and he was very specific about the police taking the statistics, and he was challenged. I say challenged in the sense that the people were asking very specific questions on these allegations.
All right.
And I must say, as this an impartial interviewer, he handled every question succinctly, qualified, and detailed to the last iota, to the satisfaction of all those people there. There was a girl that was a probation officer in the department. She had a very specific question, how we'd handle the interaction with that department. He covered that. I just think that the only way to determine what's going on is to challenge. Let's have a debate. Let's have these two fellas face to face, and like you guys suggest, that people then can make their own evaluation of what's going on.
All right, Ben, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
One other point I wanted to throw out there. Somebody says, when you were in Oneida County, you were a part of the Good Old Boys Network. How do you respond to that?
When I was in Oneida County, I was part of. when I was in Oneida County, I tried probably 150 felony trials, some of the biggest felony cases in Oneida County at the time and since. I don't know what the good old boy system that they're referring to is, but I had no problem doing my job.
Okay, Mike Daley.